Hopefully I am in focus, because if I'm not in focus, I'm not going to redo this, and you're just going to have to keep hearing the rooster, and I'm just going to be a little out of focus, but the information will be the same. So that's the most important thing, right? I have a really exciting new collection that Poesie sent me. And Poesie is one of my favorite indie houses that I've liked pretty much since the beginning of my indie journey. Do think they're pretty dynamic and versatile, and they can do a lot of different things. Weekend in Paris. And I really think that the release of this just makes sense because all of them are quite spring adjacent but more fun. They have a lot of atmospheric little tidbits to them, but nothing too weird or out there. Really approachable, accessible, and likable, but not in a bad way. I know some indie folks feel like accessible and likable is like a bad word, but I don't think so. To me, that just means well executed, well done. They're not boring by any means. They're all pretty interesting, and I definitely have my favorites. I really like how there is a little like day one, and then like itinerary like that goes along with the perfumes. So you're getting whisked away in this like trip along with the perfume. I am afraid to go to Paris ever since the cockroach scandal. If you don't know about the cockroach scandal, like, I don't know where you've been. Like, did there ever come to some kind of conclusion about that? I don't even know. It's like everybody just stopped talking about it, so they're probably still having like a little party over there. Also, I just can't afford to go to Paris, so for me, I'm gonna vicariously live through these perfumes. Absolutely. I do recommend getting the sampler. Unless you're like super know what you like and know Poesie and their notes and stuff. A cozy cafe filled with the scents of rich roasted coffee and buttery pastries, polished wood tables, the sound of distant church bells, and the memory of church incense, ancient cobblestone streets. This one is really cool. I feel like if you're not into like your traditional spring floral, I think you will like this. It is more moody, it's more dark, it's more like, academia. Like if you have that kind of vibe, I think you'll love this. You do get that like rich roasted coffee. The butter note of Poesie's is pretty dang prominent. So if you don't like butter, I would avoid anything that says pastry in it because you're gonna get it. It's definitely there. When I smell it, it's like, oh, that's butter. The church bells, there's just like a incensey vibe, but it's not like super, oh, my light's leaving me. Damn. Oh well. It's not like a super goth or super dark. I actually really like it because I do like incense. I'm just barely getting into the incense vibe. Not all the way there yet. I don't really smell the cobblestone, but it gives the feeling of something that's been there longer than you. And I think that's the vibe they were going for with this. Like, it's a cozy cafe mixed with this like cultured historic area. And I love it. It's so pretty. It's one of my favorites, but it's top 3, I think. Oh, it's hard to say. Swaths of cherry blossoms, at thin-rimmed porcelain cup of black tea infused with citrus, honey, and rose petals, a tempting display of pastel-colored macarons, crisp linen tablecloths. You do get the linen in here, so, if you're a fan of those cotton scents that have, like, florals or some things added to it, that's definitely here. I would say it's most prominently the black tea note, which Poesie's famous for their really good black tea note. I do like it. I like the black tea and the honey. I'm just not the biggest fan of florals, but I do like cherry blossoms. I don't really get the macarons. I mean, I guess it's just coming across my nose like as a faint sweetness, but didn't like properly identify it out of the scent if I had not read the notes. But the cotton's definitely there. Chilled slices of juicy blush-tinged pear, twin flutes overflowing with pink champagne, a dusky coral reflection on the rushing waters of the Seine, and a cascade of pink roses. I freaking love this one. It is so pink. If you like pink scents, it's juicy. I love fruit. I think I'm realizing I really love fruit notes, and it's champagne for sure. You're gonna get a juicy, fruity champagne with rose. A nice, dewy, young, modern rose. Youthful rose. It's not classic, it's not vintage, it's not dusty, it's not dry. I don't really like dry florals. It makes me, I feel like I'm choking. That champagne is bubbly and sparkly and fun. I just love it. I actually really would like it in an EDP. I am really sorry because I am trying to get every brand to go EDP route just because I like spraying more than touching perfumes. But I will say oils definitely have their place and you can do much more with them. But yeah, this one is like top 2. Like, I love this one. So pretty. It's very me though. Crowd of spring flowers swaying on green stems, rain-slicked silvery streets, pillowy clouds drifting overhead, flower petals floating on freshly formed rain puddles. This one is a quintessential rainy, sprinkly spring day. Rain-soaked earth, not like a torrential, stormy downpour. It's definitely a more like florally spring day. Clean and yet earthy, and it's very spring, very spring. I do like it. I like rain scents, but I don't find myself wearing these particular kind of scents in general, but it is very well done. But yeah, I just never really feel like, oh, I want to smell like a spring rainy day. For some reason, I like the stormy rainy days, or like the storm with the cotton. But spring days, I don't know, maybe it reminds me of my allergies, I'm not sure. But it is very pretty and very well done. Dappled sunlight on warm skin, a splash of absinthe in a glass, and a twist of bergamot pill, a cool spring breeze, lavender buds, and violet leaf. I love this one. This is my other one that's favorite. Like this one and the rose one are just like neck and neck for me. This is like a cocktail. By the way, they're both alcohol cocktail kind of lead drinks. Well, the other one is champagne and this one's cocktail kind of. I've never had absinthe. Isn't that like a really old drink? The bergamot is nice and bright. I just love a good bright zing like that. I don't really smell like the cool spring breeze or whatever. You do get the lavender buds. It's like nicely herbal. It is not like, if you don't like lavender, don't think that this is like an automatic no, because I don't feel like the lavender is that apparent. It just gives like a nice herbaceousness to it, and the violet leaf also is like a nice green fresh. Yeah, it's so good. If you like those like fresh green like cocktail, like a Moscow Mule kind of thing. The sense that I feel like transition perfectly from spring to summer. Like I just get so much more use out of them, and I don't feel gross when I wear them. And as for longevity, because I know people are gonna want to know the longevity, I haven't wore these enough to know the longevity. The last one is another buttery pastry scent, but again, like I said, none of these are just straightforward. It's not a straightforward gourmand. Stacks of golden pastry brimming with velvety vanilla cream wrapped in strands of caramel and topped with a triangle of hazelnut croquant. The rarefied air of luxury boutiques, cashmere, red-soled shoes, and a trace of fine French perfume. I described it on an IMAM or Any Makeup and More as like rich people and food, because it's not so like apparent like, oh, that smells like perfume. It just smells like luxury, like expensive in the background. You definitely get that like fine French perfume, I guess, but it's not like perfume. It's not as artificial smelling as that. And I don't smell red sole shoes. I don't know what that would smell like. I'm assuming like leather or something. I don't smell that, but I do smell like the cashmere and the expensiveness and stuff. And then as for, vanilla cream wrapped in strands of caramel on top of the hazelnut, I don't smell the hazelnut particularly, but I will say this one is much more sweet than the other one that has pastry. You definitely are getting more sweetness, I guess, because the strands of caramel and vanilla cream and stuff. And sometimes with perfumes, I don't know if it's just my nose or if this is just how people interact with them. Maybe I'm just like not there yet with my perfume journey. Sometimes I can identify each note, but sometimes I can't. So in this case with the pastry, it's just a nice like treat. You're not going to smell like each single thing. It's just like a kind of like a sweet pastry essentially, at least for me. And I really like this one as well. I didn't expect to, but it's cool. It's like, I guess I would wear it if I want to smell like luxurious. I think they had a different perfume that reminds me a lot of this one in the sense that it was like this luxury inspired perfume, and I think it was called Expensive Ghost or something, like Rich Ghost or something, of their part of their ghost collection, like with marshmallow or bread or whatever it was. It doesn't smell anything like that other than the fact they both smell expensive, but it kind of reminds me of that, if that makes sense, but add a gourmand element. But I really do like that. I just think it's a really fun collection. I love it. I think it's more fun than your average like let's do all florals collection. I'm not a big fan of just florals. I like my white florals, but I like other stuff too. And this one gave you like different options. Weekend in Paris. I really enjoyed this collection. I'm excited. I actually want to get those two fragrances. I really should before they go away. And I hope this collection comes back because, oh, I just love it. I hope this was helpful. I do have a longer written review if you're interested in reading. Maybe I can link that. in the description. And then I'll probably make like little mini TikToks